I'm telling you, I don't recommend that you be CEO.
So the first 6 months it will be us, right, until the war.
Yeah, and then when they sew all your 6 parts back together.
How do you handle like just basic like paying utilities and crap?
Well, I mean, you can have an assistant, a secretary do that shit.
She has signing authority.
Yeah, signing authority. I just had Kim have signing authority on a $3.75 million deal in America. I said I'm not going to sign. But see, I take shares in the stuff that I participated. The shares aren't assigned to me; they're assigned to Guthrie Castle Limited. I don't take. In other words, if I'm chairman and I have 20% of a deal, the shares aren't assigned to Dan Peña. They're assigned to Guthrie Castle Limited. Okay, and so one of the deals is they wanted all the board members to opine on some change in the articles of incorporation. And so we wrote a resolution that Kim is authorized to sign for this transaction, and this transaction only, up to $3.75 million. And that doesn't happen that often, but it's absolutely 100% legal. And so I said, Kim, well, that's the closest you'll be to a millionaire. You signed for almost $4 million. And so that's kind of the local badge of honor here in the staff, that Dan let her sign for that. But then the other staff said, but if she fucks it up, Dan will kill her. That's the downside. Oh, metaphorically speaking, of course. I would never harm one of the employees here ever, under any circumstances. Somebody else had their hand up. Now, have you found the kind of plane you're going to buy yet? 2 in mind. Yeah. And the question was, he's a pilot, and to get around more efficiently, in theory, to buy a small fixed propeller, right? Yeah, plane to get around down there in the hollers of the deep south. It sounds good on paper, but how much an hour to operate that plane?
Depends, but probably about, I'm guessing maybe a couple $100.
That cheap?
Just a little prop plane like a Cessna, right?
I'm looking at like an experimental, really nice little 2-seater van RV. They're about $200.
You won't be there.
Yeah, he'll be. You mean he's going to crash it? Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm looking at buying a drone that you pilot yourself.
Pilot.
Wait till the mentoring runs out.
Yeah. That's what everybody says. Okay. So now I know you're all geniuses that could do this better. I can't wait for your the deals to come across, and then I'll say, "Aren't you the one that said, why don't you push the interest rate? Why don't you push the notes?" But I mean, the thing that it's easy to dissect these, and at the hardcore. We don't dissect this deal, but I mean, we dissect deals, and that even big deals like Time Warner AOL deal from 20 plus years ago. That deal was put together ass backwards. And anybody that knew anything about it realized that they were going to have problems down the road. But there were 11 billion in fees, 11 with a B. I've never had a deal killed by the lawyers or accountants when the fees were deferred. Never. And the Nabisco deal from 25, 30 years ago, it was destined to failure, but there was like 15 billion in fees, and there was no way that deal wasn't going to get done. None. Zero. And cash flow didn't meet debt service from about the third offer. And the way they justify in the bigger deals, we're going to sell off assets, okay, to pay down debt. That's what they all say. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and somehow some second-year MBA from Harvard didn't figure out that reduces cash flow 20%. But that's the game, is that when the cash flow doesn't meet debt service on the big deals, they sell off assets. Of course, then they attribute that they're going to be able to increase cash flow on the assets they keep, and it's all bullshit. But the safest bet is when free cash flow covers debt service. But you want a margin, as you brought up. You want a margin. In other words, you want more cash flow by some significant amount, 20, 30, 40% than the debt service is. And the banks will loan you more money. Yeah, they'll even force it on you. But you have to fight hard not to take the money. And just because the bank overfunds a deal doesn't mean you can pay it out in bonuses, etc. That will be your first inclination. But as we showed the sign, $1 billion to lend out, that's not unusual. Now, the Main Street banks, Wall Street banks don't put signs out like that, but they're in more desperate shape than that bank because they have money. And when they're not putting out the money, remember, every dollar in a bank can be loaned out between 20 and 40 times, depending on whether it's a state bank, a federal bank, which country. But so, I mean, every dollar that sits in their deposit account is money that they're not earning vis-a-vis their model. And they want the money out the door. Now, this was many, many years ago, but I had a senior banker sit in the library back in the 90s say, I'm 775 million pounds underinvested. Can you help me out? So we did the best we could. We did the fucking best we could. We got through a good chunk of it, but unfortunately, not all of it. But then you guys would say, well, at what interest rate? You would. I didn't bring up interest rates. Didn't care to me. It didn't matter to me. See, I don't mind the interest or the fees as long as I can have the money when I want it. And as long as your future banking relationships understand, you don't beat them up about fees. Now, you don't pay exorbitant fees, but you don't beat them up about fees, but you want the money when you want it. And basically, you always want the money, so you just don't fight about fees. Now, one of the things that some of the kids have problems with, because they've never had real overdrafts or letters of credit, is when you get $1 million overdraft, or in this country they call it, or letter of credit in other parts of the world, you have to pay a fee for that, whether you use the money or not. So you may pay a point, 1% of that $1 million to have the access to the money. And some of the kids say, fuck that, I'm not going to do that. And then, lo and behold, 5 months later, they need the money. And then they try to get it. And then it's from a different part of the bank at a different interest rate. And the relationship is flipped. Before, they want to push the money on you. And now you want the money more than they want to give it to you. And normally, you'll wind up paying more for the loan. Now, you are, as Peter said, our hospital magnate, or maggot as I call him. He is now, the master of his own destiny in a little more than 2 years. And hospitals are hard. I don't want to give you bad information. They're the hard end of the continuum to acquire. Not impossible, but you have to deal with 200 of him. Just imagine dealing with 200 of him. Yeah. 200 doctors have 300 opinions. They have 300 opinions, and and you've seen down to teenagers, that are making the model work, university students, single moms. We try to cover the gamut of experience, and it's easy peasy. And as long as money is free as it is, and it's pretty close to next to free, and as long as right now President Trump's trying to get reelected and get as much money into the system, the U.S. system, as possible, which affects all the other systems, I mean, there can't be a better model for us. There just can't be a better model for us. And the kids, I've read you a number of emails that come in almost daily about success stories, and but you're going to have an edge on those guys. Because of the stuff that you've learned here, and the stuff that you have on your magic gig, it's you can't start too soon. Before you leave tomorrow, you should have already decided. Now, some of you are already embarked on your programs, but a couple of you, but most of you are going to decide what you're going to do going forward. And you really, as I told the doc, in healthcare, he can do anything because the fact that he's a medical doctor. Wrongly, in my opinion, doc, but you're given the benefit of the doubt. That's just the way it is. But all of you, you've heard pretty much, with one or two exceptions, everybody that you've listened to, healthcare. Okay? And even though they've all said healthcare, you're not going to be bumping into each other. It's just not going to happen. I mean, for example, I said there's 31,000 assisted living in the United States. 31,000. I mean, that are not consolidated. There's another 15,000 or 20,000 that are consolidated. So there's about 50,000 in the entire United States. That's plenty of a market. And similar numbers, smaller throughout the United States. Who's my 5:30 today? Okay. Did you drink today? Okay, good. Now, when is liquor tasting in kilts? 6?
Yes, they want us down here at 6.
6. You can, those of you that don't put on the kilt, haven't never put on a kilt, most of you will put it on backwards. Okay, but I mean, so we have a kilt adjustments, we call it, and attitude adjustments because we taste whiskeys down in the library, I believe it is. And then that's from 6 to 7, and then I believe 7 o'clock is cocktails, and 7:30 graduation, and then roughly 8 o'clock, near 8 o'clock will be graduation dinner. And anybody have any questions?
Did you want to point out about the kilts, underwear?
Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me. I would highly recommend you wear underwear with your kilt, even though you're not supposed to wear underwear with your kilt, okay? But most of you don't. Most of you sit like this, and the kilt comes up to here, and if you don't do it right, the kilt will only come up to here, and so I would strongly recommend that you wear underwear with your kilt.
It's so cold outside, man.
Huh? Well, what's that got to do? Is that so? That was a question in the back.
I just want to backpedal to affirmations real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
If your goal is to shoot for like an exact number in cash as soon as humanly possible.
No, your goal. Let's say your goal is you want $1 billion cash as soon as humanly possible. The affirmation would: I'm excited, I'm thrilled, I'm overjoyed, creating much more than $1 billion, because you don't want the billion, you want the much more. Or you can just say 50 billion instead of 1 billion. I mean, because again, your subconscious isn't aware that you're full of shit.
But it's creating, not in the present tense versus because
I am creating. I am excited, creating, generating in the present tense. You're doing this in the present tense, not in the future tense. Well, I mean, well, not everybody writes it correctly, and there are, not that I published them, but I mean, there are a lot of information about affirmations. Jim Newman's got some stuff on affirmations, but I mean, some of the big successful athletes that you know and heard of, and that we've slightly mentioned here, have brief stuff. But you don't need to read books. You know, you can go to fucking Wikipedia and read a paragraph on affirmation. That's about all the research you need to do. The important thing is the repetition and the constant repetition. You know, I went back, you know, the 23 affirmations I have, and I looked at them last night before I went to bed, because I've got them memorized. I went to the written form. 2 or 3 of the affirmations I've been saying 20 years. The same affirmation, 20 years. And needless to say, that's one of the ones I've memorized. But and it's just, it's in my DNA. It's in my DNA, you know. One of my affirmations is about always being prompt. One of my affirmations is always being all I can be every day, you know. It's beyond that I enjoy it. It's me now. And I just, I do the same thing over and over and over again. And funny enough, Einstein said doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results is insanity. But my results haven't been the same. I've been doing the same thing over and over, and my results continue to get better. My results through you continue to get better. And that's one of the joys that if I decide not to do this next year anymore, that I'm sure I'll miss. Seeing fucking Nimrod meatheads, create millions, tens of millions. I mean, it's beyond your comprehension, and like a couple of the idiots that you saw on the film that are close to being real idiots. I got Forrest Gump here for a reason. I've done deals with 80 IQ to 180 IQ. The 180 IQ did 40 million. The 180 IQ did 400 million. You got a chance. You got a chance. Okay? I mean, literally, that's the truth. And because the 80 IQ didn't get confused with anything. I mean, literally. He didn't, God bless him, Whereas, I know you all think that, I know that this room's average is closer to 80 than 180.
That's good, right?
That's good.
Huh?
That's good.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, but I mean, if you take me out, the group's average is 90. If you take me out. But I mean, it's good to see you chuckle about it. But it's easy, guys. It's easy, and I'm going to be hard on you. When you get back to your rooms, you'll have the thumb drive. Right? It's there. Okay, don't lose it. I would double it. Well, however you replicate it or however you do that. I don't know how to do that, but yeah. Oh, tell us about it, Doc. Okay. Yeah. If you have any questions, I'm sure the doc will explain them and show you how to do it. Okay, and if he can, I'm sure while he's still whole, before we chop him up, and tomorrow morning when you see his thigh float to the top of the lock, it'll look kind of like a small whale, but it's really only his thigh. Yeah.
Will the information about weekly reports and where to send it, will that be?
Yes, it's in the drive. You're also going to get an email. I just got weekly reports are due from another group starting tomorrow, and I already got 3 the wrong address, just from the last group. Correct? And when she says this is the only address, so, but you'll get an email, and she'll send you the format of the report to follow, and she'll give you the email address, and I think she gives it 3 times in the email. She gives it to you, but I believe it's going to be your first report will be due a week from Sunday. A week from Sunday on. Oh, did they get these? Okay, well, there's not, okay. You don't need one. Okay, here. Okay, I didn't know we had those, but anyway. When we run out of them, then take a picture of them, then the rest of you can take a picture of them. And it'll be, I think it's going to be a week from Sunday, noon my time. And it'll basically cover from a week Sunday to this Monday, actually. Yeah. Everybody understand Monday to Sunday? Okay. No, we don't give it out anymore because you guys sold it on the internet. Oh yeah, you can get one from Kim because you sold it for $10,000. They're currently being sold right now, $10,000 with my signature. Now, I don't know how the fuck they got my signature because I stopped signing them a while ago when we still gave them out. But are there going to be enough to go around? Well, VMI doesn't need one. Fuck them, Okay. Any questions from anything? Guys, I want you to go out there and rip their head off and shit down their neck. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Go out and make me proud. Make me proud. Very good. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye-bye now.